Hello guys, welcome to another episode of r/loseit. Today, I will be going over I finally hit my lowest I've ever been in my adult life. 39, female, 5'6", SW 255, CW 150. I started at 255 pounds after a friend told me I would be cute if I wasn't so fat. It inspired a competition with him because he was already on a weight loss journey. I totally blew him out of the water and he gained most of his weight back. Today I weigh 150 pounds. I have zero idea when the last time I weighed that amount, but I'm guessing it was when I was in the single digits. Here's the before and after. I look at it and cringe. I'm drinking regular Coke, I'm smoking, I quit cold turkey. It's been 5 years in October, and I remember how unhappy I was. No piece of cake or cookie is worth my happiness today. You got this. You can do it. I lost 200 pounds. 36, female, HW 440, CW 240, GW. I reached this milestone several days ago. It didn't feel much different than 175 or 195 or even 100, so I wasn't sure I would make a post. I didn't even do anything to celebrate. I wasn't even excited enough to use an exclamation point in the title. But people are following my progress here, and I always hope to inspire someone by sharing. I didn't expect to write so much, apologies for the length. Some recent life progresses and improvements since escaping super morbid obesity. I started a volunteer job with the Red Cross. I'm thrilled to be helping with blood services as it is another way to honor my dad, who died of leukemia. I have not held a job out of my home for several years, so huge NSV. I also booked, dream trip to Eastern Europe during Christmas. This has been a long-held dream for nearly 20 years. I am also renovating my room. It has been a depressing and derelict space for the past 7 years I have lived here. You'll see my new room in my next progress pic. As I continued on my journey, I realized more and more it really isn't about food. It is about pain. It is about healing. If anything, my journey has been a mental one. Food really feels incidental at this point. I had to deal with pain I had been suppressing by eating it away for decades. I had to learn to emotionally cope without overeating and binging. I had to feel. I had to allow myself to feel. I had to stop the cycle of self-abuse, the physical, emotional, and psychological abuse I had been heaping upon myself, again, for decades. Currently, I'm working on forgiving myself for disfiguring my body. As I notice more and more sagging skin, my inner thighs are getting bad now. It has been difficult to not feel bitter and regretful. Forgiving myself and forgiving people who have abused and harmed me have been an important part of my healing. A bit on my diet. Mostly generalizations, but I hope it's helpful anyway. When I started again, I decided no more quick fixes, no more fad diets, no more do the latest craze that produces the fastest results. Those fast results are usually good motivators, but I knew it would eventually fail, like the previous attempts. I just couldn't manage to stick with them for more than a few months at most. I needed something sustainable for me. If I wanted to lose weight permanently, I knew my eating habits needed to change permanently too. So I decided I'm not restricting myself like those diets required again. Severe restrictions just led me to eventually binge. I didn't want to eat off a list. I didn't want to Google acceptable foods on the XYZ diet before I went grocery shopping. I thought, I will discover a healthy way of eating that I enjoy and that doesn't feel punishing, that doesn't have a laundry list of forbidden food, and that doesn't send me into a panic when my food environment is out of my control. I wanted to eat fruit. Fruit is healthy. There's no earthly reason not to have a piece of damn fruit if I'm hungry. Plenty of healthy people eat fruit, and yogurt, and other healthy carbs I enjoyed eating already. I wanted my forbidden food list to be as short as possible. I knew I could learn portion control. I knew I could learn balance. I knew I could learn my binge triggers. So after some trial and error, and cumulatively that took several months, I developed a new healthy way of eating that I enjoyed, and that is varied enough so I don't get bored, and isn't overly restrictive. But is it restrictive? Of course. A calorie deficit is necessary to lose weight, but instead of being restrictive with the type of food, I'm restrictive with their portions instead. This is much more tolerable for me. There is only one food that is on my forbidden list: fast food. I learned early on that fast food triggers my cravings immensely, and for literally everything. It took a while for me to learn what will trigger binges and cravings for me. I have found there are both physical and emotional binge triggers. Certain amounts of food and even certain intervals of food, stress, emotions, and boredom are all binge triggers for me. I learned too much added sugar will trigger cravings for more sugar. I learned after a day of relaxed eating, a cheat day if you will, the interval that works for me is every 10 days or so, I must eat healthy the very next day, or I will risk a snowball of falling back into unhealthy habits. I had a day of relaxed eating last month. It was my birthday, and yes, I had cake. And boy howdy, did I have a perfectly well balanced day of healthy eating the very next day. I used to celebrate my birthday by a week-long binge of any and everything I wanted. One year, I ate 2-pound rum cake in one sitting. I have now realized that abusing my body with food is no way to celebrate. This year, I celebrated my birthday with a 1.5-hour walk through botanical gardens. Now that was a way to celebrate. Part of my mantra of my journey is to be kind to your body. I'm very confident I won't have any trouble eating this way every day for the rest of my life. I have lost tons of weight and I've stuck with it for longer than I have with anything else. It'll be a year soon since restarting. Note, I lost and gained varying amounts of weight during the past 3 years, doing the fad diets and was not 440 when I recommitted. I have not lost 200 pounds in less than a year. My HW pic was taken in 2015. Do I have slip-ups? Yep, sure do. But I don't panic. I don't starve myself the next day or exercise for 2 extra hours. Instead, I tell myself I'm human, imperfect, and my body deserves better than whatever junk I happen to put in during that slip-up, and I go back to my well-balanced, healthy eating. Consistency is very important. I have had plenty of slip-up days, but I've had substantially more healthy eating days. I also no longer view food as good or bad. I'm working on repairing my relationship with food, and I can't do that if food is an enemy. I always tell people, if you can't envision yourself eating your new diet every day for the rest of your life, there is a good chance it is not a sustainable way of eating for you. That's what it takes for diets to work long term. If you go back to what you were eating before, you will regain the weight. If you dream of one day finally getting to eat carbs or whatever again, then you're probably going to gain the weight back. Your diet isn't a prison. You shouldn't dream of being free of it one day. Find something that's effective yet still has some enjoyment. If you are feeling misery and deprivation with what you are trying, ditch it and try something else. Your new diet shouldn't induce panic, high levels of stress, or a crazy amount of worry in any situation. You shouldn't have to work your life around your diet. It should be incorporated into your life without major disruptions. Don't force yourself to eat things you don't enjoy, and don't deprive yourself of things you love. Learn balance and moderation. A quick note on food addiction. I have struggled with a bad sugar addiction. I have to be careful with sugar now. I had to learn my thresholds for it. I had to learn intervals and amounts where I risk triggering a binge. But I don't completely abstain because I enjoy it and can't bear a life without the occasional donut. And no thanks, I don't want a keto donut. I just had to learn how to manage my addiction to it. I absolutely understand that some people can't manage it, even a little bit, and it is necessary to eliminate it. You may be one of those people. It is our burden as food addicts to learn our thresholds for certain foods. I learned I can manage it, so I'm going to continue to enjoy it in moderation. I know this is all fairly general, and people want to be told exactly what to eat, and when, and how much. But it isn't as simple as that. I can't tell you what to eat. I don't know your likes and dislikes. I don't know your lifestyle. I don't know your environment. What I do may spectacularly fail for you. I do count calories. I do exercise. I think both are very important for me to finish my journey and settle into being a successful maintainer. I did not count calories the first few months when I was in my trial and error phase. I still lost weight because I was making better choices, even while figuring out what worked best for me. I highly recommend keeping a food diary, as this was how I learned my binge triggers and necessary intervals and amounts of occasional indulgences. Yes, even log your binges, log everything, study it, look for patterns. I am living, breathing proof that this can be done without any kind of medical intervention. There is hope for all of the super morbidly obese, even those who are completely and utterly alone, like I am. 3 years ago, I was the 400-pound woman who only went out to go through drive-thrus and spent 23 out of 24 hours of the day in bed with absolutely no human interaction. Nearly everything about that life has changed now. I really feel like I've taken the hardest route possibly, without any kind of therapy, which I will readily admit I do need, or surgical procedures. It is hard, but not impossible. TLDR. I lost 200 pounds without surgery. I'm feeling things instead of eating them away. I'm healing from past trauma. I eat a well-balanced and healthy diet. I do count calories and exercise. I do have occasional indulgences. A diet that is working for other people might not work for you. Find a healthy way of eating that works for you and your life. Use trial and error to learn what healthy habits you can permanently adapt into your lifestyle. Learn your triggers and learn to manage your addictions. Sometimes complete abstinence from certain foods will be necessary. Sustainability is hugely important for successful long-term weight loss. I truly wish everyone success and peace in their journeys. Thanks for following mine, and I'll see you again at 2:20. If you want to read more about the psychological side of my journey, there is more about it in my comment history. It is not terribly easy to write about it as it is intensely personal. Oh, the progress pics. I have taken a lot at different stages. I have kept nearly all of the various clothes in my before pics. I didn't intend on posting a before after here, but I was just at a wedding this weekend and the comparison to my own wedding picture 6 years ago is striking. Felt like showing this off. We were at a wedding this weekend and my wife snapped a picture of me on the terrace. It's the first time I've been in formal wear since dropping the weight. I hopped on Facebook and looked back at my own wedding picture 6 years ago, and damn. I hit my goal weight a couple of months ago and I've since been working on fitness goals, building muscle and cardio training. I wanted to run a half marathon by the end of the summer, but I don't think my knee is going to cooperate with that plan. Lots of cycling though. I still track everything I eat, but I'm back up about 2,300 to 2,400 calories per day, which after over a year of a calorie restrictive diet is still new and luxurious to me. Feels so much better. Edit. Wow, you guys made me feel like $1,000,000 today. Thank you for all the kind words. My friends don't love my weight loss, but I'm 60 pounds down and need to tell somebody. My whole life, I have been the girl who has a nice face. Since the time I hit puberty, I knew I was a little thicker than most people. I was never a skinny girl, was always overweight, and cannot remember the last time I was below 160 pounds. To be somewhat fair to myself, I've always carried my weight decently well, topping out around a 16-18, but alas, I've always been plus-sized. Throughout puberty, I wasn't too concerned with this, until I went to college in 2013. Between 2013 and 2016, I put on about 50 pounds, going from the 190s to 242. And you know what? I did not care. I did not care one bit. I got really sucked into body positivity and convinced myself I was totally healthy. I didn't own a scale and only got weighed during doctor's appointments. The appointment where I rang in at 242 was also the appointment where I was concerned about my knee's inflammation, had a deep depression, and was diagnosed with pre-hypertension. Still, I was fine. I look back at photos of myself and I am shocked. I had no idea how big I had gotten. But even back in 2016, when I would tell my friends how I felt, they would always retort with, "But you're so beautiful, don't worry about it," or "Weight is just a construct." I spent years telling myself I was happy with my body, but the truth was, I wasn't. Yes, I thought I was lovely, but I'd had such a hard time dating or going out since I didn't even like friends hugging me out of fear for my muffin top. I didn't like taking photos of myself with friends, even on the best occasions. I dreaded seeing family because I didn't want to face their commentary on my weight or their silent judgment, and it wasn't until this year that I realized this. Going from 242 to 210 was actually unintentional and took about a year and a half. I'm American and worked abroad at the time, and the sheer lifestyle change, walking, portion sizes, had the weights melt right off. When I hit 242 in the summer of 2016, I was in supreme denial and never weighed myself afterward, so it wasn't until a Visa medical appointment, January 2018, that I realized how much weight I had lost. I was thrilled. So, phase 1 of my weight loss, admittedly, was by happy accident. I started my PhD program in the fall of 2018 at 210 and stayed that way for about a semester while I made the academic adjustment. In January, amongst the death of multiple family members, it hit me that I only had one body and the privilege to change it, make it healthier, and do things I'd always wanted to do, including running a half marathon, being more engaged, and being more comfortable with platonic romantic intimacy, etc. Since January, I've done CICO and cardio 2 to 4 times a week, and I hit my first weight loss goal at 185 not too long ago. I am now at 182.2, less than I weighed when I was 17. I have shifted from obese to overweight, and clothes are fitting me so much better. I am absolutely gassed and incredibly proud of myself. Losing weight is something I have always secretly wanted to do, and it feels so good to see some progress, even amongst the dreaded plateaus. Most importantly, my blood pressure is totally normal, my knees hurt way less, and my resting heart rate hovers around 58 to 63 beats per minute. I have told only 2 people at my school, my mom and a few friends back home. A lot of my friends, who range from very slim to obese, are in the body positivity HAES crowd. And to be honest, I'm not here to shame these movements because I think at the core, they're important. I think loving your body is fantastic in all its imperfections. I just want mine to last a little bit longer, and there was something morbid about being 21 with bad knees and a prescription for blood pressure medication. But because of this, like many people on this board, I've been reticent to share this news and have started to get some negative feedback. Is it grief weight? To, are you just doing this for men? To, I think you're losing weight too quickly. To, maybe this is why you're sick all the time. I've had the flu twice since January. Get your shots, folks. But I'm doing this because I love my body. I think it's beautiful, powerful, worthy, and I just want to treat it better. I'm doing this exactly because I love myself and want this love to always be felt in my soul and in my interactions with other people. I have a lot of stretch marks and will probably have loose skin, but damn, it feels good. I typically just lurk, but I haven't been able to express this excitement to anybody, and I love the positivity in this community. I just want to scream to the world about how happy I am and how stoked I am to keep going, so I'm posting it here. Thanks for listening. Rock on, everyone. P.S. This is silly, but WTF, I am just realizing how many bones we have. It hurts to sit my butt in certain chairs, and my ankles are bruising because I keep hitting them on things. Edit. Obligatory thanks for the gold, kind stranger. I'm stunned. I've been on Reddit for years with another account, and this is just so exciting. Thank you. Also, thank you so much for all the nice comments on the PhD. I love my program. It's hard, a mass of reading I don't know that I'll ever get used to, but I enjoy it a lot. It gives me a lot of independence and flexibility to factor my exercise, grocery shopping, and etc. Very much of a privilege, and I am very lucky. One day later. Thank you so much for the silver and the second gold. I've been swamped for the past 24 hours and have left this post alone, so I was stunned to come back to it and see how much it picked up. I got to reply to some comments, but it might not get to reply to them all. Either way, thank you 100 times for all of your kind words. I love hearing about all of your journeys, and for those of you who are just starting, stick to it. As for before or after pics, I didn't even consider it, and would have to dig up a photo from 242. I didn't take a lot of photos at that time. Maybe I'll post something when I hit the final goal.